can you give advice to young programmers? This is another question from Reddit, the infinite wisdom of Reddit. What should a person in their early 20s do to move forward in the tech industry? And this is an interesting addition to the question. And by doing it, will this be walking on someone else's path?
I am going to try to answer that question, I guess, the best I can. Which I think that if you're entering into the tech world, one of the hardest pieces of advice that I took a long time to learn was I became enamored and addicted. Obviously, we talked about that. I programmed for way too many hours. Forgetting to spend the time I needed with my wife, with my friends, all that stuff, like totally wrapping myself up into one activity. I think though it made me who I am, was probably an unhealthy activity and probably not a wise activity. And so the best advice I can give is that you got to develop the love, the skill, the desire for, whether that's just only using AI agents, programming yourself, using Zig or programming JavaScript, whatever, that flavor is that's going to get you coming back every single day, getting the reps in the gym, if you will, for programming, but also knowing how to value what is valuable and not getting lost in the sauce where you're just so stuck on trying to make the next greatest startup that you sacrifice your health, you sacrifice your relationships, or even worse, you sacrifice your own morals to take certain shortcuts that you probably shouldn't be taking in life to be able to achieve these things. Because, I'm sure there's hundreds of horror stories you could hear where people definitely shortcutted their morals for monetary success.
Yeah, I mean, the golden handcuffs, comfort can destroy the soul in some sense. Yeah, so that's, that's really important to remember. But would you, there's young people kind of thinking, do I even want to be a programmer now? It seems like AI is getting better and better and better at these, at programming. If they were trying to make that decision, would you still say, yeah, if this is something that fills you with joy?
I still want my kids to learn how to program, if I can answer that. If that's a good enough answer.
Yeah,
in the
that's
sense
a really
that my kids
answer,
are a decade younger than a young person trying to learn how to program right now. And so if I want, I'm hoping that my kid can run and build whatever he wants in Roblox. I'm showing him ChatGPT and be like, all right, let's ask questions. How do we do this? It's still extremely confusing for him to do all these things. And so it's like, let's do this. I want him to learn and be effective. And maybe one day he has to throw away all those skills in 20 years. But I bet you that whatever skills he threw away, or whatever hard skills he had to throw away, an entirely new field that none of us have thought about. Just like if you would have asked somebody in the 70s, about social networks, they'd be like, what the heck are you even talking about? Like, things will exist in the future that are going to be massively different and crazy and exciting.
Maybe in virtual reality.
There you go.
Maybe all of us actually down the line will just be building video games.
Just entertainment for all. The brave new world of our world.
Well, I think entertainment is a kind of trivialized version of what a video game could be. It's like, what is the purpose of life anyway? I mean, it could be a deeply fulfilling video game. It doesn't have to be just like dopamine rush. It could be educational. It could be scary. It could be challenging, forcing an evolution, the leap into adventure that it makes up a fulfilling life. That could be video games. Who knows? Especially in virtual reality. I tend to. That's the other thing. I play a lot of video games. I think there's a lot of room to make video games deeply fulfilling. Like there's a lot of space where that can go.
I didn't know you played a lot of video games, because when I asked you specifically, should I play World of Warcraft or do Advent of Code? You're like, Advent of Code.
Oh, well, that might mean I've never played World of Warcraft, because there's certain games I avoid. Fortnite, by the way, I think was one of them, because I was worried to become too addicted.
Yeah.
So there's certain games I just know I won't get super addicted to. Like, for example, I'm terrified of Civilization. Like, I've never played a Civs game because I'm worried. The dark path in my lead, because there's some games just really pull you in. I'm much better with, that's why I play Skyrim. I can play these games, or Baldur's Gate, and moderate my how much I play, and they could be like a lifelong companion versus an addiction where I'm like, it's like sunrise and you're like, what's happening with my life? And I find myself naked behind a dumpster somewhere, just wondering what happened. Yeah, so that's how I choose my video games.
You're not the first person who has specifically called out Civilization.
Yeah.
I've had more than one person, also very high up in the tech world, be like, Civilization is my downfall. If I get near that game, I'm done.
Yep. So
I've never even played the game now. It makes me be like, dude, I gotta give this a try. That sounds crazy.
yeah, and the new one is actually supposed to be really, really good. What were we talking about? Yes, for that same young developer, is there a trajectory through jobs that you could give advice on? So you started out with Schedulicity.
Yeah, that was my first full-time. When I had the government contracting one before that wasn't quite full-time. It was in C. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then building my own startup for quite some time. So if you count either of those as full-time, then those would be the full-time. But Schedulicity was the official on the docks.
So is there some value to jumping around, like working in one company and another to try to figure out like what brings you joy?
I think there's a lot to that because not every job you're going to get is going to be great. Now, your first job you could get could make you think you hate programming. It happened. I did an internship at a place. I keep on like surprising you with more kind of things I did in the past. Did an internship at
Fuck, you did so many things. It's incredible.
At a place called like Total Information Management System. Remember when I talked about that hours ago about healthcare and industrial shipping and all that? It was a C# shop. It was so bad that after I did that, I went and changed my major to mechanical engineering for a semester in college.
Oh boy.
I thought actually, I like computer science. I hate programming. So, just because you've had a job doesn't mean it's going to be the one. And the thing is, here's the best part though. If you get a job and you like it and you want to do it and it's exciting, you don't need to change. Right? I think a lot of people are like, "Ooh, I got to find the next thing. I've been here for 2 years." Like there's kind of this like, you got to move around mindset. I don't think you have to move around. I don't think it hurts your career. Because if anything, you'll gain more responsibility and you'll be able to talk with way more authority. And the next time you interview, you're going to be way more into like, oh yeah, I had to get these X people and these X people to be able to do all this stuff. And it's like you can talk with much more authority if you stay at a place longer. And that's nothing but benefits in my book. It's only if you stay at a place because you're afraid or you don't want to, you already have something that works for you and you just never want to change. And you're just like, I get to go in and just be completely mindless. I think if you go mindless for a couple of years, you'll find yourself, that's like the only real danger. You just come out with nothing at all.
Yeah, especially when you're younger. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Take the risk, take the leap out to the next thing, and not for money, but for just personal like joy.
Yeah. And money could get at the end. That's the best part. Is when you don't strive for the money, sometimes the money just shows up anyways.
Yep. And some of what makes life worth living is the people you work with, like a good team. Some of it's like, not to be generic, but culture matters. It's whatever makes you happy. Like for example, I just won't call out places, but there's certain companies where everybody is very 9 to 5 and it's very, even if the work is exciting, they don't work hard enough. I would say I'm one of those people that likes to go all out, like likes to be surrounded by people who are like super passionate. Now, to be fair, a lot of them don't have families or don't.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating choice. I really don't want to talk down on any choice, like work-life balance or not. I think both are beautiful paths. And like, if you really derive a lot of value from joy from your work, going all in, at least for some stretch of your life, is a beautiful thing to do. Just all out, full on passion, sacrifice a lot of social life, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. That could also be beautiful.
There can be something very, very exciting about that in some sense, especially if you're building your own thing. I can imagine that would be very exciting. Like if I was Amazon, Jeff Bezos building Amazon, one could imagine that those early years were probably very rough. And the amount of hours he probably put in were very, very rough. But I will say that there's this kind of unique aspect in our culture where we kind of make this as an equal trade-off between family or work. Like, oh, you do or you don't have to have kids. And my only kind of real notion with that one is that you will never know your capacity for love until you have kids. Like you just don't know. And some people are like, oh yeah, but I like love my dog. And it's just like, I loved my dogs too. And then I had kids and now my dogs they're all right. Like, I like him.
Yeah.
I could come home and I pet Indy and I'm like, oh, Indy. And then I'm just like, okay, bye, Indy, right? Like, I can't even describe the difference between the two
Yeah.
because it's not even the same. And so that trade-off you're making is no one can tell you what it's like because there's a real reality that's right now. And I'm 100% positive this is with my wife as well, where if right now we got news that said, you have some medical procedure where if we do this, you will die, but your kid will live. There's not a question in my soul that I wouldn't do that. Right? If I could look into the future and if I had to die right now, knowing that my kids would have a better life, they would be happier, they'd be more fulfilled and all those things. I guarantee you either my wife or I would take that every single time. It's just like, you will never be able to say that about most things. People will jokingly say that until it's actually on the line.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like with that, you just have this ferociousness. I can break out in sweat thinking about somebody fictionally pushing my kid to the ground. Like actually get, real adrenal responses flowing through my body. So it's just like such a different world and it's hard to explain. And you could never have convinced me when I was young that it'd be this big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I knew. I didn't know.
But to add on top of that, some of the most successful people I know, some of the most productive people I know have kids. So like, I don't know if it's even a trade-off. Like that love you feel, it seems to be a catalyst for like, to make sure you have less time, but you're going to use that time better to be productive.
I would argue that it definitely changed a lot of my life and how I approach problems and everything in a very different way.